Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Friday, the 17th of December. Following Robert Murray McShane, today we read 2 Chronicles chapters 19 and 20. In them we read of how Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, comes home after visiting Ahab, king of Israel, an evil king, going into battle with him where Ahab gets killed. And we're told that Jehu, the seer, the son of Hanani, went out to meet him and said to the king, "Should you help the wicked and love those who hate the Lord? Because of this, the wrath of the Lord is on you." And so he speaks words of judgment. Jehoshaphat had aligned himself with Ahab, the evil king. What was his response? We're not told exactly what he thought, but the next section we read is that Jehoshaphat lived in Jerusalem, and he went out again among the people from Beersheba to the hill country of Ephraim, and turned them back to the Lord, the God of their ancestors. And so he goes out into the community and he teaches people about God, and he turns their minds back to God. And as you continue reading, you see him turning to God and waiting on God and honoring God and listening to God and praying to God, which is an interesting response after the seer came to him, because 2 chapters earlier we read of his father Asa, who has a similar experience where he'd used all his gold and silver and taken gold and silver from the treasury of the temple and used them to buy the favor of the king of Aram to protect him and help him. And a prophet comes to him, and we're told that at that time Hanani the seer came to Asa king of Judah and said to him, "Because you've relied on the king of Aram and not on the Lord your God, the army of the king of Aram has escaped from you, and therefore you're going to be at war from now on." And his response was quite different. Asa was angry with the seer because of this. He was so enraged that he put him in prison. And I was just struck by the difference between Asa, who is angry with what the seer said and locks him up, and Jehoshaphat, who probably didn't like what the seer said either, but responded by honoring God. And for me, it was a challenge. How do we respond to criticism? And when people say things to us which we don't like? And there are some voices of criticism which are not helpful, which are really just destructive, and people wanting one up over us and things like that. So one has to be careful of who you listen to. But sometimes there are constructive critics, and people do sometimes say things which we need to hear, even though we don't want to hear them. And how we respond to that. Do we just write them off, or do we turn to God and say, "God, make this, guide me into your ways. Keep me in your perspective. Keep me in your place, so that I will walk with you," as Jehoshaphat did. So be challenged when you are corrected, when people say things that we don't like to hear. Let us respond as Jehoshaphat did. Turn to God, and let God lead us forward and lead us closer to him. And as we do that, we are blessed.